Welcome to another episode of It's a Jungle Out There. I'm your host and queen, Maria Tabrawi. As you know by now, the show is about kings and queens living, excelling, and thriving in their jungles. So let's meet another queen, Sunshine Shen.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming, for being here with us.
Amazing, thank you.
Her reputation as a Playboy glamour model of the year had heads turning with those sultry covers. But little do they know, Miss Shen has now expanded her repertoire to being a self-realization guru and as a dedicated follower of the new age thinking. Self-actualization is a journey that Sunshine finds herself on, and with her new book coming up plus numerous projects to keep her busy. Sunshine Shen isn't going anywhere. She's ready to take on the coming years of change with ambition and classy determination to see her through success. Welcome, Sunshine, to It's a Jungle Out There. So let's get to it.
Thank you so much for having me, Maria. It's an honor to be here.
No, thank you for being
You're
here.
so beautiful.
Thank you. Tell us how you came to be the queen in your life today.
Well, I started my journey with the Playboy Mansion, and I became one of Hugh Hefner's painted ladies the last 3 years of his life. Rest in peace.
So living in the mansion on a day-to-day basis, tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. So at the mansion, we have like a pretty strict schedule. Have always liked for us to be dinner at 7 p.m. We watch a movie around 8:30. And then after, we're pretty much just done for the night. It was pretty much a family dynamic. I think a lot of people are under the impression that we're partying all day and night. But during the latter years of his life, it was completely different. It was very much a family circle, immediate situation. Like, we really did not have any crazy times. At least I didn't. I kind of missed out on the crazy 90s and the early 2000s part of like the stereotypical Playboy experience. Yes, yeah, basically. We played a lot of chess. He loves backgammon, so I actually lost numerous games to him. But he's a very interesting character, and he has a good sense of humor. So he liked to bet money for backgammon. So like $1 or $2. So I lost more than a few dollars to him. So, yeah, it's an honor.
And how did the girls get along?
Everyone pretty much got along really well. They don't tolerate, at least when I was there, they didn't tolerate any cattiness. It wasn't like a big family dynamic, I think, amongst all the women. But we were very respectful.
Was it jealousy between all of you?
Not exactly. I feel like maybe there was. I just, I tried to kind of stick with his friends and his family circles. So I didn't really, to be honest, mingle too much amongst the girls. And like I said, it was his best friend, his physician, that brought me into the circle. So I always kind of pay them the respect. I enjoy talking about history or movies with Hef, and those were his two favorite subjects. And he likes to play his board games, so that's basically what I did. So to be honest, I didn't really mingle that much with the playmates. But yeah.
Is it that he enjoyed it, having these women next to him? Did it make him feel fulfill his ego?
I think, you know what? I think that's the thing about guys, right? About men. I think it was this reputation that he made for himself. With Playboy, it's a huge brand, and people have this expectation of who Hef should be. I think through a lot of that, yes, it definitely has to do with men loving the attention of beautiful women, but it's more so, I think, we build him up to be this legendary character that's surrounded by 50, 100 women at all times, that kind of kept his image going. It made him, in a way, not feel, I guess I never really asked him, but it would seem to me that it put the pressure on him to become everything that the thing
was
that
he a
everybody
person
expected.
that suffered from depression or anxiety, or it was just
He was a bit stubborn. I won't lie. He's very stubborn. He has a ideal of how everything should be, and he's not willing to compromise on those things.
So everything under his terms.
Everything, yes, everything.
You had to adapt. If not, you were in trouble.
Basically, I'm a very laid back person. It's easy for me to adapt. But I think a lot of people around him who's been around way longer than me, who knows him way better than me. I did. I think their views of him are just like, well, he's a stubborn person, half is half, and then in a way, like, we come to accept that because he's a legend. His name,
Right,
yeah.
his name.
Yeah.
What did you take with you from that experience?
What did I take? I think it's important for, at least for me, to kind of go with the flow. To be honest, when I was first introduced to him, even by his family member, his best friend in the world, he didn't like me very much. Like I said, he has this stubborn tendency about what he thought was this gold standard of beauty. The blonde hair, the blue eyes, and don't get me wrong, I think all women are beautiful, but it's a different time now. And even then, the last 3 years of his life, he didn't want to change that. He didn't want to change. He wasn't willing to kind of move with the society. He expected everyone to kind of bow down to him and say, you know what, we agree, and that is the only features that we find acceptable on women, And so when I first approached him, he didn't really give me the light of the day. He didn't want to give me any time, but I had to slowly kind of put myself in front of him. He did not appreciate my looks, so I started trying to win him over with my intellect, with my sense of humor. He had a good sense of humor, so and eventually he got used to me, and that was when he handpicked me to become his painted lady, which I thought was, if you had told me that when we were first introduced and I saw the way that he kind of reacted to me or not, I would have just thought it was crazy. So thick skin and a lot of determination goes a long way.
Well, that helped you grow as a person.
It did, in its own way, yeah. But yeah, he's extraordinary person, let's put it this way.
Okay.
Sure. We'll say that. We'll say that.
We'll keep it at that.
Yes.
Okay. Of all the wives that he had, which one is the one that you think that he had more love? Or the special one?
It's hard. I mean, I was never around. I wasn't there that long to really know. But according to him, of course, he was a Crystal. Crystal was the love of his life, and they did have a couple of not breakups. So she did at some point leave the mansion the first time. The first time they became engaged, and I think she was scared by the pressure, by the Hollywood spotlight. She's a small town girl just like me, and she was scared. She didn't know what she was walking into. And it was interesting because she was actually telling some stories to the playmates, to the painted ladies one year.
Explain that to me, to his lady and the pinup ladies. What is that? So the viewers can understand.
Sure. We have chooses 12 painted girls every 2 years for all of his events. So the big, you see Midsummer, there's Halloween, his birthday party, and New Year's. These are all big mansion events that he will host. And because there's only one of him, what he did was he picks 12 ladies, whether it's playmates or girls that he picks for whatever reason, to be painted completely naked. And the thing is, you can't tell. Once everything's painted, it just it's clothes, right? Skin tight clothes. And we basically go around the mansion and talk to everyone as we represent half that night. And our duty is to make sure that everyone feels at home, everyone gets to take photos if they wanted to, and so on and so forth. Just make sure that everybody have a good time. Yes, yeah.
So let's look at one of your darkest moments and how you came out on the other side stronger, more resilient, and powerful.
Sure. Like I said, from the Playboy side, I definitely would say it's a very competitive world out there, and it's important for young women to have that thick skin. Even if you hear no 1,000 times, you know what? As long as we believe in ourselves, it's possible. You know, anything's possible. And as far as my own journey right now, I just recently discovered that I have autoimmune. So it's still a journey a transition of lifestyle that I'm currently dealing with. And I think overall, it's making me into a better person, because I'm now more conscious about what I eat and the health and wellness.
Tell me more a little bit about your challenges in your life.
Well, my biggest challenge right now that I'm facing is being diagnosed with type 1 lupus, and, you know, being right now a model and still having to be in front of the camera and struggling with flare-ups, skin flare-ups and conditions. That was extremely hard for me.
Can you give us a better definition
Sure.
of lupus?
Sure.
So people can understand.
Yes. So lupus is a chronic inflammatory disease, and it's also referred to as the invisible disease. And because we can have inflammation at all times in every part of our bodies, from our brain to behind our eyes, like things that you don't really even think about. I can flare up at any time, all over my body, and it's tough. It's tough to target what food that I'm eating, or maybe environmental factors, stress.
So stress can flare you up.
Yes, it can. Anything can really flare up someone with lupus, and the only way to really tackle it and really manage the flare-ups is basically food. And doctors here, they don't really tell you that. They would say, you know what? Take some steroids or some oral steroids. And the thing about steroids is, yes, it will temporarily kill the swelling in your body, but over time, your organs can't handle it. Your liver and your kidneys will fail, not because of the lupus, but because of the steroids that they're prescribing.
Control the swelling.
Yes, exactly. So when I really studied myself, I researched myself into autoimmune and into lupus, I realized I have to change my life. This is not like eating whatever I want anytime I want isn't going to be a part of my life anymore. So that was really hard for me because I love food. I love sweets. So it took me, even now, I'm struggling to give those things up. But you know, every day is a work in progress.
That's the best, yes.
Yes.
Okay. What is your next project?
So right now I'm working on a auto-fictional series. I'm writing my book. I'm incorporating some of the stories that I experienced in my life, from the mansion to I was single for 5 years in LA, and I thought it was kind of interesting. A lot of the quirky stories, a lot of the different characters that I came around, and I'm incorporating it into a fictional series, and where I want the audience and my readers to take a peek and see what's actually going on behind this like so-called glamorous life. From the mansion to Beverly Hills to almost everything that people see on TV about LA. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So when is this book gonna come out?
Well, I'm on my last 100 pages, and because of my recent diagnosis, I kind of veered off my path a little bit. So sometimes my flare-ups kind of blocks my creativity. It's a struggle that I'm still kind of dealing with, but I'm slowly getting through it, and I want to finish the last 100 pages as quickly as possible. So, getting there.
You get there. You will.
Thank you. Okay.
Where can our viewers and listeners find out more information on you?
Well, so my website right now is under construction, but I am on Instagram, and my Instagram handle is Captain S Sunny, 2 S's. Yeah, I'm pretty much only on Instagram.
Thank you, Sunshine, for being here today with us. As always, like, subscribe, and comment on this video. And remember, you can listen wherever you get your favorite podcast. Till next time, stay wild, strong, and empowered. I am Maria Tabraue. Remember, we're all kings and queens in our own jungle. Stream this and new episodes wherever you listen to your favorite podcast.